You know that feeling when you're watching an ad and you know it's an ad and you know they're trying to sell you something and you know you're too smart to fall for it and then you buy the thing anyway? That's not a failure of your intelligence, that's a failure of your biology. Here's the uncomfortable truth. You are not born free. Sorry. Think about the last time you changed your mind about something important. Not the weather, not what to have for dinner, something real. Politics maybe, or a relationship, or what you actually believe about yourself. Try to trace it back. Was it a logical argument, a spreadsheet of pros and cons, a moment of pure, dispassionate reason? No. It was probably a story someone told you, or a feeling that snuck up on you, or a single sentence from someone you trusted spoken at exactly the right moment. The human brain doesn't process information the way we like to pretend it does. Information is the bait, emotion is the hook. And someone, maybe a marketing team, maybe a politician, maybe the algorithm that knows you better than your mother does, someone is holding the rod. Here's the thing about the brain. It's not a computer. Computers process data. Brains process survival. That voice in your head that tells you to be skeptical, that's a late addition, evolutionary aftermarket, an upgrade installed roughly 50,000 years ago when we started using language to coordinate and compete. Before that, we were just animals trying to figure out which rustle in the grass was the wind and which was a leopard. And evolution, being a ruthless pragmatist that it is, decided it was better to be safe than sorry. Better to believe the rustle was a leopard and be wrong than to think it was the wind and be eaten. We are built to believe before we doubt. This is the great asymmetry of the human mind. You don't decide to trust someone, you decide to distrust them, and even that takes effort. Trust is the factory setting. Want proof? Watch a toddler. They don't question gravity, they don't question faces, they mimic, they absorb, they assume the world works the way the people around them say it does. We are the only species that has to be taught to be skeptical. And the people who know this, they don't fight it, they use it. Let's talk about something called the scarcity effect. If I tell you there are 12 cupcakes, and then I tell you we're out of chocolate ones, what do you suddenly want more than anything in the world? Chocolate. Obviously. Doesn't matter if you don't even like chocolate. What matters is that something was possible and now it's not. Your brain treats that as a loss. And humans are fucking terrified of loss. We avoid loss about twice as powerfully as we seek gain. This is why limited time offer works every single time. It's why only 3 left in stock makes you want to buy a blender you didn't know existed 60 seconds ago. It's why when someone says don't think about a pink elephant, your brain immediately projects a pink elephant onto the inside of your skull like a goddamn screensaver. You are not dumb. You are human. And humans are predictable in ways we really don't want to admit. Now let's go deeper. Because the manipulation isn't just about buying things, it's about what you believe. Robert Cialdini, the guy who wrote Influence, identified 6 principles of persuasion. They're not tricks, they're shortcuts, rules of thumb your brain uses to make decisions without having to think about every single variable. Reciprocity. If someone gives you something, you feel like you owe them. This is why charities send you a free pen. The pen costs pennies, the guilt costs more. Liking. We say yes to people we like. This is why car salesmen try to find common ground with you. You like hiking? Me too. Let's talk about that while I casually sell you a vehicle you can't afford. Social proof. If other people are doing it, it must be right. This is why restaurants display their Yelp ratings. This is why protests work. This is why you check your phone when everyone else is checking theirs. Authority. We follow experts, or people who look like experts. This is why a dude in a lab coat can sell you toothpaste. That guy is not a scientist, he's an actor, but the coat says, trust me. Consistency. Once you take a stand, you want to appear consistent. This is why foot in the door works. You say yes to something small, then the next request is bigger, and your brain goes, well, I already said yes, so I must be the kind of person who says yes. Scarcity, we already covered that. The pink elephant, the chocolate cupcake, the fear of losing what you almost had. None of these work because people are stupid, they work because people are social. These are the infrastructure of human cooperation. Trust, reciprocity, belonging. These are the things that let us build cities and go to the moon. But they are also the things that let someone sell you a timeshare, or a candidate, or an idea. Here's where it gets interesting, and by interesting, I mean deeply unsettling. We don't just respond to these triggers, we seek them out. We are hungry for belonging the way a plant is hungry for light. In the 1950s, Solomon Asch did a series of experiments. He put people in a room with a bunch of actors, showed them lines of different lengths, and asked which line was longest. The actors all picked the wrong line, on purpose. And the real participant, the one person in the room who wasn't in on it, 37% of them went along with the group. Even though they could see the correct answer with their own eyes, even though there was no punishment for being right, they picked wrong because the alternative was being the odd one out, because being wrong with the group feels safer than being right alone. This is not a bug, this is a feature. Belonging mattered more to our ancestors than accuracy. If you're a hunter-gatherer 100,000 years ago, being exiled from the tribe is death. Being wrong about which berry is edible is also death. But one of those deaths happens right now, the other happens later, alone, slowly. So your brain optimized for belonging. Accuracy is optional, belonging is mandatory. That feeling you get when you're in a room full of people who agree with you, that warm, cozy, right feeling, that's your brain rewarding you for safety. It feels like truth. It is not truth, it is belonging. And the people who want to manipulate you, they know this. They don't need to convince you of anything, they just need to make you feel like you belong. Think about the last time you got into an argument online. I mean a real one, the kind where you felt your face get hot and your fingers start typing faster than your brain could catch up. Were you arguing against a point, or were you defending your identity? Because when someone attacks an idea you hold, your brain processes it the same way it processes a physical threat. The same neural circuitry fires, the same cortisol spikes. You aren't arguing about facts, you are fighting for your life. And here's the thing, the person on the other side of the screen was doing the exact same thing. We don't persuade each other, we fortify each other. This is why facts don't change minds. If a fact threatens your sense of belonging, your brain discards it. The technical term is motivated reasoning. The colloquial term is bullshit. Okay, this sounds grim. It sounds like we're all just puppets dancing on strings we can't even see. But here's the reframe. The same mechanisms that make us vulnerable to manipulation are the mechanisms that make us capable of love. The trust you extend to a stranger, the same trust that can be exploited. But it's also the trust that lets you fall in love. The vulnerability that lets you be hurt by someone you care about is the same vulnerability that lets you feel seen. The need to belong that makes you susceptible to groupthink is the same need that makes you stand up for your friends. The same impulse that makes you buy something you don't need is the impulse that makes you give a gift to someone you love. We are not fools. We are human. And being human means being open, being porous, being susceptible to the world around us. The question is not, can I become immune to manipulation? The question is, what do I choose to be manipulated by? Because you will be influenced. There is no escape hatch. There is no way to step outside your own biology and see things objectively. You are a mammal with a nervous system and a social brain. That's not a weakness. That's your body. The only choice is which voices you let shape you. The people who love you, they're also manipulating you. They're using your trust, your need for belonging, your fear of loss to make you a better person, to keep you safe, to make you laugh when you want to cry. The difference between manipulation and care is the difference between someone who sees your wiring as a vulnerability to exploit and someone who sees it as a heart to hold. You are not a puppet. You are a beautiful, messy, deeply human disaster who gets to choose, imperfectly and over time, who gets to be part of your story. The world will try to sell you a version of yourself you don't recognize. Your job is to keep showing up for the people who see the real one.
If that made something click, hit subscribe. New videos dropping on this channel covering the hidden science behind the way you think, feel, and behave, explained simply, visually, and in a way that actually sticks. Hit the bell so you never miss one. The answers have always been there. You just needed someone to explain them.